What is up YouTube? My name is, as always, Mr. Esnorp, and I welcome you all back to another video on my channel. A few days ago I made a shorts video where the topic was how to train Herblore to unlock overloads in the RuneScape 3 League. And then I saw your guys' feedback and I just realized that there are so many people out there that really struggle with that topic of unlocking overloads and what they should brew to level up the skill and stuff. So I thought, let's make it a little bit more detailed and let's make a long form video out of this where I show you guys what I did to, first of all, level up my skill in detail, and after that, what I did to brew the overloads, how I got all the ingredients and stuff. So yeah, without further ado, if you like the video, don't forget to leave a like. Consider subscribing if you're new to the channel. Leave a comment with some critics or maybe your best tip on how to unlock overloads in leagues. And now let's head right into it. So first things first, we are in leagues. So I am now not making a whole guide about the Herblore skill where I show you every item that can boost your XP by 1% or something. But I try to focus on what you can do in this short period of time that we have with the League's game modes as fast and as easy as possible. So I think the most obvious thing to say at the beginning is the higher your League relic choice already is, the higher is your XP boost, and therefore the easier it is to get to level 96 or level 106 to make overloads or elder overloads. Also, technically, it is possible to brew overloads at level 91 after completing the Evil Dave's Big Day Out quest and then boosting the level to level 96 with the spicy stews. But I will not cover that in that guide because I think it's simply not worth it to do in the Leagues mode, especially because you have a times 8, times 12 or even times 16 XP boost. So what did I do to level up my skill Herblore in the Leagues game mode, and what are my tips for you at this point? So first of all, the best thing that you can do on your account, especially early on to train the skill, is to do your weeklies, to do your monthlies, to do some questing if you want to, and also if you want to do some diaries, all to get XP lamps that you can put into Herblore. So for example, you can pretty easy every week do the Herby-Werby minigame, which will give you a lot of Herblore XP since the XP rate is also times 16. And basically all you have to do that minigame every week, so it always resets on Wednesday, is to unlock Anachronia. When you have unlocked Anachronia, you simply have to go to the top right corner of the map basically. So this point where I am right here. And then you just simply have to press on this one here, press yes, and then you jump down and the minigame has already started. And the minigame, let's be honest, is pretty easy to do. Basically, you want to put in purple herbs into the fire here, and you want to avoid to get put in green herbs there. So when these Zygomites put out green herbs, you just simply have to press on them and take the herbs away. So therefore they can't put them in, into the middle right here. And I mean, you see the XP drops there, just simply insane. I mean, I press this Zygomite here and I get 56,000 XP in Herblore, which is obviously times 16, but it's still really crazy to me to see those XP drops. And then you can also go on the side, pick these purple herbs, and put them in the fire by yourself. And this is basically the whole minigame. You can do this until you reach 100 points, which is, rather fast to get, to be honest. But as I already mentioned, it's just so insane XP. And this is basically it. This is the whole minigame. Pretty easy to do, and you can do this every week, and it's just insane Herblore. As I already mentioned, besides the Herby-Werby, which is special for Herblore XP, you can also do the monthlies, for example, the Troll Invasion, which is this minigame in Bertorf where you just have to fight some waves of trolls, and after that you get an XP book with a lot of XP. You can do some quests that give you XP lamps. Or also what I like to do when I want XP lamps in the Leagues game mode was to complete some easy and medium diaries. They almost always give you some XP lamps that you can use in the skills that you wish for. And sometimes these are like 10k XP lamps, and with a XP boost of 16 for example, or even 12, this is over 100k XP and can really boost up your grind and make it way faster to train it up to level 96 for example. But let's say you did all that and you have done your weeklies and got XP lamps and stuff, and now you just want to train up the skill just by simply the old-fashioned way and creating some potions. Then here is my way, what I did to train up the skill. For me personally, I think that it is way harder to get to the secondary ingredients for potions than getting the herbs to create potions on an Iron Man, and especially in the Leagues game mode, if you have picked the Farming Frenzy relic, I think that getting the herbs for your potions should definitely not be the biggest problem at all. So the hardest part is, I think, to get the secondary ingredients. And therefore, I have basically 2 tips for you. The first one is that you have this Scroll of Cleansing in the Dungeoneering skill that you can unlock with 20,000 Dungeoneering tokens. And this is basically a permanent effect on the Herblore skill that you can save some secondaries by chance while creating potion. This can be really helpful for this whole grind, because sometimes when secondaries are hard to get, to save them while you train the skill is just a really nice feature. But still, getting those secondaries can be really hard, and therefore I was looking out for some potions where you can get them pretty free. And there are definitely some examples. For example, cooking potions where you need some cooked swordfishes to brew them as a secondary ingredient can be a really good potion to make, especially when you, for example, have done your fishing grind and already cooked a lot of swordfish that is laying around in your bank. You can also buy swordfish on the island Karamja, basically at Brimhaven, in, I think it's the bar right here by this guy, Alfonso the waiter. He will sell you swordfish, but I cannot recommend buying it here because you don't have any bank nearby, so you always have to TP here, buy the fish, TP out and stuff. I think it's pretty annoying. It's not the best way to train up your Herblore. But if you have a lot of swordfish laying around, this can be a really good method, and it's definitely good to keep that in your mind. But the way better method is something that I have already shown you in my shorts video. And this is basically focusing on attack potion. Because attack potions, they have a really nice feature. Because the secondary ingredient, or Eyes of Newt, which is an item that you can buy at the Herblore store. So for example, in Taverley, you have this guy right here that sells you some items that you can use in the Herblore skill. So for example, can buy some white berries, red berries, you can buy these beads, which is pretty nice. These are all secondaries for different potions, but especially the Eyes of Newt are really interesting. Eyes of Newt you can buy in a whole pack, so you can just spam right here, get a lot of these packages, then you can open them and you have, for example, 19,000 Eyes of Newt, and this is all the secondaries that you need for your Herblore grind. Because then you can start creating normal attack potions if you have a low level. For this you basically only need Guams, and Guam seeds are really easy to get by these zombies right here outside of Fort Feringfree. I mean, it's also a pretty common melee training spot right here. So you can basically just go here and kill these zombies for a while. You can even do this fully AFK, for example, when you want to train up your skill level. And then you get a lot of seeds, you get Taroman, I think Marentil, and also Guam seeds, which is the one that we want in this case. And as you can see, the drop rate is pretty high. We already got 3 of these seeds. And then you basically have to plant them and after that harvest them. Obviously, if you have the Farming Frenzy perk, this will be a really easy thing to do. Because you just basically have to plant them and then they are instantly grown up. You get the maximum amount with 30 Guams from one seed, which is just absolutely insane. And even if you don't have the perk, you can just make herb runs out of these, which will definitely be slower, but it's still an option. You can then clean the herbs, which will already give you some XP in the skill. Sure, 40 XP drops aren't that high, but if you have a low level, then this can be already pretty good to level up the skill early on. You can then make the unfinished potion out of the Guams, and then you just have to mix them with these Eyes of Newt, and you will get your attack potions, and therefore the huge XP drops for your Herblore skill. And obviously, getting normal attack potions are only 400 XP drops if you have the times 16 XP boost, so it's not that high. But the best thing about the Eyes of Newt is that they are also used in the super attack potion. The only difference right now is that you need irit seeds or irit herbs to make that potion. But I mean, the other things are basically the same. You harvest the herbs, you clean the herbs, you make the unfinished potion. Yeah, you're an Iron Man, man. You have to do it like that, you know? There is no way around this. And then you can mix them with your Eyes of Newt, and this time you get a lot more XP than with the normal attack potions, and the secondary ingredient is just as easy to get as for the attack potion. But now the question is, how do you get these irit seeds or these clean irit? And the best option for me actually was to go to Zag. And now don't be scared, because you don't have to kill the end boss Zag to get the herb seeds. They are quite commonly dropped by the creatures that you encounter during the waves. So starting a Zag encounter, killing some of the creeps can already drop you a lot of irit seeds. Damn, I should become a rapper, man. And therefore this can be a really good way to farm some irit. I mean, see right here, we have almost 50 irit seeds just laying around right here, which is kind of insane, you know? Otherwise, if you don't want to do that, there is the Slayer creep in the Fremnik Slayer dungeon, the Turov, that you can kill with level 55 in Slayer, which also have a fairly good chance to drop those irit seeds. And as I already mentioned, if you have the Farming Frenzy perk, you don't really need a lot of these seeds to get the herbs. Okay, so now I basically showed you the way what I did to reach level 88 in Herblore. So I focused on the minigames, focused on the attack potions, and now it was time to go a step further, because now I started creating the extreme potions. These are basically easier to do than the super attack potions, because you can buy super attack potions in the Mascap store. For this one, you just have to open your group menu. If you haven't bound anything to the hotkeys, it is with the hotkey G. You open this menu here, then you create a new group, then you can press F5, then you're in this window with the grouping system. You can choose the Mascap thingy right here, press view selected, update group, and then you press ready. If you have done so, you can complete your group and then teleport all group members to this location. And then you basically want to start a raid, but we don't care about this, because when you run a little bit east, you find this Mascap camp here with these weird fucking creatures. I don't know what they're called actually. And then you have this one here, the Gobi supplier, which is a bank, but also a shop. And in this shop, you find all the super potions that you need to create Overlord. So you have a lot of attack potions that you can buy right here. And if the inventory is full, you can just bank, close the bank, do shop again, and can buy some more. You have strength, you have defense, you have magic potions, you have ranging potions, and also necromancy potions. And this is absolutely insane for your Herblore grind, because you can now buy a lot of these. And with the defense, strength, and attack potions, the only second ingredient that you need to create the extreme potions is just another herb. So for example, if I want to create a extreme strength potion, all I need is a super attack potion with those 3 and some clean dwarf weeds and level 89 in Herblore. So I can basically teleport to War's Retreat. I can then take out all my super potions that I just bought at the Mascap store. I can then right click the clan representative and press decant, and I press decant vials, choose the 3 doses option, and now he will decant all my potions into 3 doses. And now I basically have the base for my extreme potions, and all I need is the secondary ingredient. As I already mentioned, for example the strength potions, this is only a dwarf weed seed, or basically a dwarf weed, a dwarf weed herb that you combine with the super strength potion, and then you get these huge XP drops while creating the potion. I mean, 50k for an inventory is just insane. For the attack potions, you need Avanto seeds, but it's basically the same. You just have to put them into the super potions and you get some insane XP drops. The same can also be done with the defense potions. There you need a super defense potion and some Lantadime herbs to get even more XP from your potion. So basically, as soon as you reach level 88, through the super attack potions and the minigames and all that stuff, you can start creating extreme attack potions, and all you need for that is the Mascap shop that is pretty easy to find, and some Avanto seeds. And where do we get Avanto seeds? The Avantos I mainly got from Araxor and from Turovs again, so these creatures that you can kill at level 55 Slayer, and the Araxor the spider boss obviously. The Dwarf Wheat Seeds you can get pretty commonly at Vindicta and Helvir in the God Wars Dungeon 2, and the Lantadime Seeds are also pretty commonly dropped by Helvir in the God Wars Dungeon 2. So you can basically do those bosses, get some seed drops, and you really don't need a lot of these seed drops. 1 or 2 is already enough, especially with the Farming Frenzy perk, to get all the weeds that you need. And then you can mix those potions, those extreme potions, that are pretty easy done to get your level 96 and finally unlock the Overload potion. When you have done that exactly the way that I showed you guys, you now have unlocked the Overload potion, you have the extreme strength, defense and attack potions, and all you need now are some extreme necromancy potions, extreme ranging potions, and also some extreme magic potions. And here is how I got these. The first thing I want to create are the extreme magic potions. For these you need mud runes. Mud runes are basically pretty easy to do. All you need for this is a full inventory with pure essences, and then you need either a water or a earth talisman. It doesn't matter which one you have. If you have some of them in your bank, it is pretty easy. If you don't have them in your bank, you can farm up water talisman from a lot of bosses, or you can also farm them in the abyss, where you also get some pretty easy earth talisman. But if you have some on the bank, it doesn't matter if water or earth. You just need one of those, and then you have to put them in your inventory. You also need the type of rune in the inventory. So if you have a water talisman, you need water runes. If you have a earth talisman, you need earth runes. And if you have exactly that setup, all you need to do now is to go to the different altar where you don't have the talisman for. So for example, for me, since I took out a water talisman, I have to teleport to the earth altar or walk there or whatever. Then I have to go in there, and when I'm here, I have to use my talisman and press it on the earth altar. And then I create some mud runes, and then I can grind these mud runes and get some grounded mud runes. And this is basically the ingredient that I need with the super magic potions that we already bought at the Mascap camp to create some extreme magic potions. For the necromancy rune, the way to create them is pretty much the same. Because for the necromancy potion, you need a grounded miasma rune. To create miasma runes, you need level 60 in rune crafting, and you need to complete the rune Mythos quest, which is pretty easy to do. It's not a big deal basically. And in this quest you also learn how to get impure essences, but if you don't know how to get them, this is basically by completing a ritual at the necromancy ritual site right here, where you basically convert 200 pure essences into 40 impure essences. As soon as you have some of these essences, and I already mentioned during the quest you already create some, all you have to do is to create some miasma rune. And again, in the quest, you create some runes with necromancy rune crafting, so you should already know how to do it. But if you don't know, it's pretty easy. You just have to enter the dark portal, which is in the city of all the way to the east, and then you press on the miasma altar with some impure essences in your inventory, and then you have created these miasma runes. You can grind them the same way that you did with the mud runes, and you get your secondary ingredient for your necromancy extremes. Pretty easy to get. Okay, so now there is only one potion left, and this is the extreme ranging potion. And for this one, you basically have two options to get your secondary ingredient. Because the main ingredient, obviously, is the super ranging potion that we have already bought at the Mascap camp. And for the secondary ingredient, you either have to choose the hunter options, where you have to hunt some Grenwalls with level 77 in Hunter. If you want to go to the hunting way, I highly recommend you that you create some electrify trap, because then you don't need any bait to get those Grenwalls into your trap, which makes this whole grind way faster. But yet still, I don't really like hunting, so for me it was not an option because I don't even have the hunting level. But it is the skilling option to get those Grenwall spikes, because you get per Grenwall 18 to 21 of these spikes, and you need 5 for a extreme ranging potion. So I think the hunter way is actually the faster one. But I didn't want to do that, so there is another way, because with level 105 in Slayer, you can also go to the wilderness and then look for some abyssal beasts. Because these one also have a pretty high chance to drop those Grenwall spikes. At level 36 wilderness, you have this spot where you find a lot of abyssal beasts, and then you can basically kill them or start killing them, and they have a pretty common drop rate on these Grenwall spikes, and if you have chosen the melee relic, you should easily be able to face tank them with the lifesteal, and then you can just sit here and farm them for a little bit and hope that they will drop you some of those Grenwall spikes. This was basically the option I did to get those. I think it's not the faster option, but for me it was definitely the better one, because then I don't have to do all this hunting grind, you know. And as you can see, I already got 26 Grenwall spikes just by staying here for a few minutes, which is basically already 5 extreme potions. Okay, after all that, we have all the extreme potions. So there is only one ingredient left to create some overloads. And this ingredient is the Torstal seed, or basically the Torstal herb. To get Torstal seeds, you again have a few options to choose from. For example, Samarak, the Lord of Chaos, drops these. Also, Krayara in hard mode. Telos can be a good option to get them from. Technically, Turovs also drop these, but the drop rate is really low. But I think the easiest way to get some Torstal seeds is by killing the Queen Black Dragon. The Queen Black Dragon is a pretty easy boss to do in the game. She only requires you to get level 60 in summoning, and after that you can farm this boss, get some Torstal seeds, and again, if you have the Farming Frenzy perk, you definitely don't need a lot of these. And when you then have some clean Torstals, all you have to do now is to take these out of here, mix them together with your extreme potions, and therefore get your juicy overload potions. Okay, so we are now at the end of the video, and this is basically my fast and easy way how to get to overloads. Obviously, you can take this way further by doing the Supreme Overloads and also the Elder Overloads. If you're interested in that, please leave a comment and I make a guide on this too. But I think for most people, the Overloads are the perfect choice for your PVMing journey, because the boost from normal Overloads to Elder Overloads isn't that big of a deal, and maybe not even worth the whole grind to get there. But yeah, if you want a video on that, please leave a comment. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new, leave a like, and now I wish you a great day, a nice weekend. I'll see you next time. Bye!